Hey guys, I am here again today with Meghan Jones, author and coach. We did an episode a while back. I think you were like the second guest I ever had on the podcast.
Awesome.
It is so awesome. And I was so thankful to have you in such a warm spirit, and we got along so well. I brought you back on. Today we're going to talk about grounding, which is something I should have already been doing content on. People ask me about it all the time. And for some reason I've tried to sit down time and time again and do an episode on it by myself or a blog post. And I don't know, the energy isn't there and it fizzles out for some reason. It's probably because I'm supposed to do it here with you today.
Probably.
We have and ironically enough, it's something that I need today because we have storms coming in, and I live in Tornado Alley, and so it's tornado season, and the schools are getting out early today, and I just get really anxious. And I know a lot of people feel the same way, not only about storms and like situations that arise, but just generally.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
and right now, I mean, there's so much going on. I'm not super knowledgeable about the planets and stuff, but I know Mercury is retrograde. I know there's stuff set up above us like it's never been set up before. That's, kind of discombobulating on its own. So if you know storms are coming and then people run like low key anxiety daily,
mhm.
grounding is really important.
Or hockey.
Yeah, or high key anxiety.
I know I used to, I built my entire platform on trying to heal my own anxiety. And I was so bad that for the longest time, the only way I could explain it to people was that it felt like I was going to dematerialize at any minute.
Yeah. Like into like a pile of dust.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. And it's so rough and people run it around anything and then it's chicken and egg. It feeds itself into anything else and then it literally feeds itself into your food choices and talk about not grounded. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So food is a great way to ground. There's a whole,
Food's a great way. I've got like six or seven in my head when you just said the other day we were like, what are we going to talk about? And I mentioned things and you're like grounding and all this stuff pours in my head. But food, a really, really great, super easy way. And then we could talk about other things too. But with food, well, okay, there's like multi-layers of food that are coming in now to share. But the first really blatant one is root vegetables. Go into all the grounding food, like carrots, parsnips, turnips, rutabagas, beets. Eat the beet greens. Like you could make like a sweet potato, beet green, you know, thing. There's like anything. Munch on a carrot, a purple carrot while you're in the car. I know that Brussels sprouts are not roots, but like those are also really like hefty grounding veggies, but eat your root vegetables. Even I know that like spring is not root vegetable like circadian rhythm Ayurveda season, but it to ground, eat the root vegetables for sure.
yeah, I mean, so definitely you need more grounding and rootedness in the
Yes,
winter because again, with the Ayurveda, you have more Vata air energy
exactly.
at times, so you need to counteract it. And that was what my problem was, is that I was very, very Vata. I was just very air energy, lots of air energy, which is, airy and floaty. So you have to counteract that with the earth energies.
Yeah.
But I mean, carrots are in season.
Carrots are in season. Exactly. And I mean, any color carrot, make it fun. Purple, yellow, orange. Any carrot, any color beet. If you had like, I mean, lentils are not, they're not like, grounding root vegetables, but like a nice lentil, sweet potato, beet green, you could just trick it out. It would be beautiful. Any color sweet potato, purple, right? Everybody thinks sweet potato, they think yam. But like there's purple ones which have antioxidants and anti-aging, and we could dork out about that all day, but we don't need to. But the root vegetables go into those.
Yeah, no, it's so, I don't know, is it a conspiracy that there are thousands of more food options, like from the earth food options than are presented to us? You go to the grocery store and, oh, I don't know how it is where you live or how it is other places, and it's going to vary from location to location. But and food deserts are a problem, which is probably where I'm more leaning to in this conversation right now at this point. But you go to the grocery store and there's like 50 options tops. And you got like three different kinds of potatoes, and that's it. And there's one type of carrot, and that's it. So, like, it can get really hard to find what you're
Yeah.
looking.
Well, and I mean, I go to multiple stores when I shop because there are things that I get from this store or that store. Like one store, yeah, only has like three types of potatoes, but then and including just only the orange, you know, regular looking sweet potatoes. But then you go to Trader Joe's or the Whole Foods or a different store and they'll have, a broader variety. So you don't have to go to a store that you don't want to, but if you know that they have like 5 or 6 varieties of sweet potatoes, get your sweet potatoes there and get the rest at the other store. There are thousands, like you said, I mean, there are rainbow colored radishes, there are rainbow colored carrots, there are multiple colored beets, there are multiple colored sweet potatoes. There are like most things, well, they're cauliflower, right? That's not a root vegetable, but there's like purple, orange, white, like and they all have different phytonutrients, right? The colors bring us different vitamins. We don't have to talk on this food line forever, but like there are different variants. And for example, if you're having like a burger night or a something night, and instead of French fries, make like rutabaga fries are delicious. You'll never know the difference, or they have like another little twang, or cassava root, or yuca fries, or um turnips are also really sweet. If you roast them, you could roast turnip fries. Like there are so many different things besides like the three types of potatoes you might be presented.
Yeah, it is. I used to for a while there, every time I went to the grocery store, I would try to get a vegetable or something in the produce aisle that I had never had before.
Yeah.
And I'd go home and like research the Pinterest recipes for that thing. And parsnips is something that really, so, I mean,
They're so
don't get me
good.
wrong, a lot of that stuff died in the fridge, good.
I think that's common.
But you have to do that a few times, you have to be willing to risk it dying in
Yeah,
the.
try one, like you said, one each time. And I grew up in Midwestern, I grew up in Minnesota. Like there was not a lot of branching out with the food. It was
Mhm.
very Minnesotan food. So the first time I had a parsnip was when I was, I think, in my 30s. And it tastes like Christmas. It tastes like a spicy, like not spicy hot, but like a well-seasoned, well-spiced carrot.
Yeah,
It was delicious. It really surprised me.
that's exactly what they taste like.
Yeah. So I always think of it as the holidays because maybe I tried it around the holidays, but it always tastes like Christmas. So if you throw parsnips in your roasted vegetables, make a big thing of roasted vegetables and just command. You can even throw in broccolini for some beautiful green or whatever, and just say, I command myself to ground, and stick them in the oven. Every time you take a bite, feel the soles of your feet, feel your hips. I am grounding. This food grounds me. It fuels me. You can. I mean, there's more tips we can go into like that, but you can use the root vegetable food to physically, literally ground you, and then you can also use it as a practice, as a ritual.
Absolutely, because the magic is in you. Grounding is such a broad topic that can be done so many ways. And it does take a little bit of practice, especially if you're prone to the more airy energies and you have trouble, you struggle grounding. But you definitely, food's not the only way. Aside from root vegetables, we'll mention real quick that like mushrooms, anything
Yeah, absolutely.
really
Earthy,
earthy.
super earthy.
A lot of
Mushrooms.
people say meat. Um, Try to kind of stay away from. I'm not saying that people should try to say, I'm just saying I try my best. I was vegan for a really long time, and then I wasn't, and then I was again, and then I wasn't, and now I'm not. But that's not what we're talking
Well,
about.
animal protein, if your body does well with animal protein and it tends to serve you, I mean, I haven't eaten animal protein in 34 years.
Wow.
And it doesn't bother me, but like I don't miss it. It's not like a sacrifice for me. But make it a seasoning, make it like, a part of your plate, not the main, event. Have the vegetables and, be the main event. And if you eat meat, it can, and if, I mean, does meat ground you? It actually depends on the quality of the meat. Is it pasture raised with like a happy life. And, we can also get weird and talk about the emotions of the animals, which are a thing which you do ingest, so meat can be extraordinarily ungrounding. And even if it, supposedly serves your body as you as an individual. And, if you wanted to use it for grounding, it would be portions, it would be quality, it would be, there's a lot to go into it. So I would lean into the vegetables first.
Oh, we could definitely do a whole episode on just that alone.
For sure. For sure. But another thing, if you want, and yes, mushrooms, like I'm not super versed on them, but like get one of those like variety packs at the store. So many different beautiful types that, and there's certain mushrooms that if they're growing out and they get sun, they are the highest plant-based containing source of vitamin D, which is, interesting and tricky to get, right? So, but in the outdoors also, if you need to ground and you have a chance to get outside and be near a tree, like a tree with bark, not a palm tree. Palm trees are different. They're fine. They're lovely. But like a hardwood tree, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Lean on it. Lean your back on it. Give all your crap to the tree. If you don't mind and there are people around or no one's around, turn around, put your heart chakra on it, put your third eye on it, and give everything into the roots of the tree. She'll take it for you. And that's a great way to ground with the tree.
Yes, because again, it's just connecting to the earth. And if the tree is connected to the earth, it's a beautiful way to do it.
Huge tool. Huge tool. Um, Also grounding into yourself, right? Because a lot of times when we're feeling ungrounded, we're running, like you were saying, high key anxiety, right? And you're up. You might even, I'm not super versed in auras, but like sometimes we look like a light bulb or like a hot air balloon. Like we're so far out of our bodies
Mhm.
and spinning and looping and lapping in our brains that grounding is not even an option. So even realizing just pulling your focus to the soles of your feet
Mhm.
and then pulling your focus into your knees and into your hip joints and just all of a sudden noticing that like you can sort of like a balloon, like bring it down with a rope, bring it down, dial it down into you. You can be in a grocery store, you can be in your car, you can be at your desk, you can be holding your kid, but pulling your attention, bringing your focus into your self, your lower body really helps shift things too.
Yes, that is one of the biggest things that I teach in my yoga classes is grounding in that sense. It's because people get weird about it and they think it's woo woo and they're riddled with anxiety, but don't come at them with some grounding technique. What is it? Meditation? Meditation's communing with demons and
That's right. That's right.
I don't want no part of it. But no, so I try to make it not scary sounding for people. Literally all it is I tell people that there's too much going on in the top half of your body, and that's where your head is, it's where your thoughts are, it's where your senses are centrally located, but there's a lot less going on in the bottom half of your body, which is closer to the earth. And there's probably some scientific stuff with the magnetic fields and the being closer to the earth because you can just go sit on the grass,
Yeah.
touch it, and that's grounding. And then
Yeah.
connecting
Yeah.
your bare feet to
Yeah. Take
that
your
lower
feet out of your shoes and stick them in the grass and feel it, or the sand, but grass is better. Earth.
just really driving home that earth energy
Earth,
aspect.
earth, earth. Yeah, exactly. No, it's interesting because if you feel like, oh, I can't pay attention to my feet or I can't get into my hips and even that feels woo. Like if you stop for a few seconds and switch your mind to your senses and just start noticing like what does the air feel like? Feels kind of neutral. I'm not cold, I'm not hot. What do I hear? Here's some traffic, not much else. Even if you just pause and switch to your senses, I hear the refrigerator, I see the plant, whatever. I see the picture on my wall. That can at least bring you somewhere in your body
Hmm.
if you don't want to ground into your feet.
Because that is generally the issue is that we're in our heads
Hmm.
and we need to get into our body, into the physical. Sometimes though, I encountered this. Sometimes like being in my body was made things worse. It felt like too many things were going on in the body.
Which means then I've actually done a live on this, I think a long time ago. Maybe it's some live I need to do again, but like using exercise to ground,
Yes.
right? Because it's like, thousands of years ago, didn't the yogis created yoga to get the wiggle worms out of your body to be able to sit in meditation,
Yes.
right? So if sometimes you pull into your senses and you pull into your body, your focus into your body, and you're like, I'm more comfortable, uncomfortable, that's when you're like, okay, that's a great awareness. Celebrate that discomfort and exercise it out. Doesn't matter what it is for you. It could be dancing, running, walking, swimming, biking. I don't, it doesn't matter. But like for me, exercise is total lifeline. Like it's a total lifeline. It's the way I've told you this before, but it's the way I'm not on antidepressants. It's the way I stir up myself so that I can function really well. It's a different day pre and post exercising. And so if you pull your focus and awareness into your body and you're feeling kind of crazy, good, then you got to move. Do something. Even if it's 10 minutes, maybe you walk up and down the stairs like really mindfully so you don't bail, but like, at a good clip and just get your heart rate up and just shed, release, 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 ground into the stairs or something. It'll feel better.
Yeah, it was I found out pretty quickly that I could literally run from my anxiety.
Yeah. And I learned from my therapist that I was running away from my life when I was in constant marathoning. So there's that fine line between, genius and insanity, and there's that fine line between using exercise for the right way and using exercise to hurt yourself. So, I mean, yes, you can outrun your anxiety. You can outswim your anxiety. You can outcycle your anxiety. It's a really beautiful, healing, free tool. And also, if you're like lifting weights or not lifting weights, like if you're squatting, use that, like feel the soles of your feet. If you're in the gym or if you're in your living room, it doesn't matter. Feel the soles of your feet and let that, like maybe you have roots in your feet so you don't topple over, you do it the right form, but ground into your heels, ground when you squat. If you're lifting weights, if you're doing like an overhead shoulder press, you can be like really grounded into your heels. And each time you really press up, you make sure that the energy in your body or your intention grounds through your feet. So you get actually more of a shoulder workout. Your core is like the center of the tree. So your heels go down, your core engages, your arms go up, your shoulder press will improve and you'll ground.
Yes, everything is a whole body exercise. Like, you have in the exercising community and stuff, you have like leg day and
Right.
arm day and ab day and whatever and ab exercises specifically. And but everything so I'm so tired of us sectioning everything off. And
I agree.
everything is a whole body exercise. And that's something that I love about yoga and martial arts is that they incorporate all of it. So even though it is like the warrior two, for example, even though mostly it's a leg pose, you're activating your core, your shoulders go back and down, your arms are stretching in that direction, your mind is even part of it if you
In
really.
the Yeah, in the middle. And there's probably, I mean, I've done yoga. I'm not a yogi, I'm not a teacher, I did martial arts. I have that under my belt.
Built. What
Um,
branch?
but probably with yoga, oh, what kind?
Yeah.
Taekwondo.
Okay.
Taekwondo.
I've
Well, I
done
haven't for a long time, but I did do it for a while.
I've done Tai Chi, Taekwondo, and Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is
Yeah, no,
awesome.
I mean, technically I have a second degree black belt, but I really like, it's been decades,
That's
decades.
awesome.
But when you're in those poses, like also, yes, it is your legs and your core is in and your mind, but also I think your energy is also, you're trying to like really shoot it out your fingers, right? Like you're trying to have everything, your shoulders are down. So no, I mean, when I'm training clients, personal training clients, I mean, if we're doing squats, their core is engaged. If we're doing, their core is floating their arms and arms things so their neck doesn't try to take over the planet. It's a everything, I mean, food, exercise, internal peace, work productivity, relationships, how you exercise, it is all connected. Every single thing.
Yeah, I always tell my students, and they probably hate me for it. We'll be in a specific pose, and I'm like, if your legs get tired, or if these muscles get tired, just use different muscles. And they're like, I know they're looking at me like, what do you mean use different
But
muscle?
literally use different muscles. Yeah.
Because you can,
Engage.
even if you're, let's see, like a plank. Everybody hates planks, right?
I love
You
playing.
can, I kind of like them, but uh, you can go from, and it's just focus and concentration. And no, we are not off of the grounding subject because focus and concentration inside of your body is grounding.
Yeah.
And so, like, you shift your focus and the energy with it, and with it, the tension and the stress and the tightening or the relaxing from your legs to your arms, from your arms to your shoulders, back down to your hands to your abs. And as you're shifting your focus from one area to the other, you'll notice that, like, if your legs are tired, you focus to your shoulders and arms, you'll forget about your legs.
Yeah.
And then when those get tired, you focus back to your legs and, oh, they got a break. And suddenly you find that you can hold your planks a lot longer.
Well, and I find in plank for me too, the exact same thing. If I make sure that like I really engage my legs, ground with my legs, right? Because you're like, it's attention and focus, and I'll add intention, right? Because my intention is to be a plank. Like I want to be like a 2x4. Like that's my intention, to be that kind of power and strength and stability when I'm doing a plank. So like my heels are kicking back, I'm grounding into my legs, so I'm not hanging my shoulders, but my shoulders are there, so my legs aren't going to give out. It's a whole, yeah, where you focus, your muscles will respond, and then the tired parts can take a break.
Yeah. And then I had really bad health anxiety. So, like, I was not, the word hypochondria gets a lot of like flack for people being like, oh, there's something always wrong. No, hypochondria is just health anxiety is all that is. You're anxious, and every little twing or twang you feel in your body, you're like, oh God, is it cancer? And
Yeah, I got a brain aneurysm. Yeah.
yeah, literally. Um, but exercise helped me tame that a lot, because, and so did food, because well, if I'm feeling anxious about my health, then there's nothing better than to work on strengthening your body, or giving it something you need. I always also equate everything to a video game. Like, my body is a video game character, and just like some of these video games, you have to feed your character certain foods to for health and stamina.
Yeah. It's like a power pellet. I mean, I'm, you know, older, but like when the ghosts in Pac-Man, like if you eat that Pac-Man power pellet, then the ghosts turn invisible and you can go out, like, because you have to think of, I mean, food is not like medicine, food is medicine. And so if you have health anxiety that runs, then you want to fortify yourself
Hmm.
and you can lessen your anxiety. And literally, I mean, exercise, meditation, literally, physically, provenly, scientifically help lessen anxiety. And so does food. And then the whole thing. So, yeah, if you picture your body as a video game character and she needs this to get to the next level, yes, she actually does.
Hmm.
And also if people are like, oh, I don't know about that intuitive eating, or I'm not really intuitive, or I don't know what I think, and tell me what to eat, and your intuition will clear up
Hmm.
as you ground, as you're more present in your body, as you're actually more strong and powerful in your body, and you feel healthier, you're healthier, you look healthy, the food you eat is feeling beneficial, then also that the other senses that you do have intuitively, everybody has some, um, are more free. The channel is clearer.
Yes. The fortification too, the vision of that, like, imagine there's a shield around you.
Yeah, it is literally a shield around you.
Yes,
Because
and
your skin is your shield, and you have like, and then your energy field is more clear and
mhm.
more strong for those of you who believe in that. But I really do believe that like it clears up a lot of the TV static inside and out.
Yeah. I for I talk to skeptics all the time because I am a skeptic. I don't
You have to be. Yeah.
yeah, I don't come at any of this with like a woo-woo whatever, but also it's okay to be delusional if it helps you get through. Because have you heard of the placebo effect? Have you heard of the nocebo effect?
Right.
Our mind is powerful, and it's proven that our thoughts can create physical manifestations in our body. So if you're always worried about your health, then chances, if you're always worried about getting breast cancer, there's a good chance that you're manifesting that. And that's
It
exactly what
can
you're
be
doing.
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, that's the words I was looking for sure. And so if that's possible, then deciding and if you want to say that it's delusional, then whatever, it helps. It doesn't matter that it's delusional. Be delusional. Believe that every stem of broccoli you eat strengthens your force field and keeps you immune across the board to all the diseases and all of the cancers and all of the whatever, then that's totally okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's not delusional because it's real. Like if I used to, we used to do all the different things because you think you're being healthy. Like I used to, for the first thing I put in my body every morning, I'd take a glass of water and open one of those like emergency
Yeah.
packs, stick it in the water and chug that. That is all chemicals. There is nothing real in that. It's chemical vitamins, it's chemical whatever. I thought it was keeping me healthy. Was it? Maybe some of my thoughts. Was it also causing inflammation? Yes, because that's what the ingredients are. But if you have those little broccoli trees on your plate, look at that. You can be like, wow, I am eating a tree. This broccoli is going to ground me. This broccoli is going to give me, bits of plant-based protein, bits of, calcium, bits of whatever's in the broccoli, right? Iron. I'm going to eat this tree and it's going to fortify me against all the crap flying around in my kid's school.
Mhm.
And so it is
Yeah, they'll definitely they market all sorts of things to us as being healthy that are not.
because they can. And the packaging can be so misleading. The packaging can really be really misleading. And I mean, somebody gifted me um, cashew butter last month and it's so awesome. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I read the label and, I like the labels on all my nut butters to say one ingredient. I would prefer it say cashews.
Mhm.
If it had two ingredients, it would say cashews and salt. I'm okay with that, right? This one says cashews and high oleic sunflower oil. And it's a beautiful package and it looks really healthy. And that is not gonna, I'm not, thank you so much. I didn't say that to her. I didn't look at it until I got home, but like it's unfortunate because it can be misleading. And that's why it's not delusional to learn about what's in your food and really to believe that putting a nut butter that says only cashews in your body is going to fortify you and boost your health and lower your health anxiety more than the one with the inflammatory oil.
Yes. No, what I mean by be delusional is like I tell my kids all the time like this is a magic bracelet. It will
Oh
protect
yeah.
you from the monster that is not in your closet. Stuff like
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do that all the time. I mean, even before I go into meditation in the mornings, I put, laser beam down to me to anchor down from me to anchor and say, am I putting a laser beam down from me? No, but I am.
hmm
I'm anchored.
Yeah, because the reality is created in our heads anyway,
Mhm.
both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, people, if you want to go basic with what you're saying, people will say, I don't want to get sick. 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 And they're focusing on the sick and they get sick.
Yeah. Yeah, they get there's a lot of confusion around affirmations
Yeah.
and the language used. That's why and it takes years for it to click. And like my husband, for example, here we're years into, you know, we've been together since we were 16, so he's been listening to me talk about stuff like this for a lot of years. And he's still he'll say stuff like that. He'll be like, we're not this is not going to I don't know what
Yeah, it's opposite of what he wants, right? It's the opposite of what he wants.
yeah, and I'm like, he's like, what? I'm doing it. I'm affirming it into, I'm like, no, you're not. You think you are. And kudos for trying. But the
Yeah.
universe doesn't speak in knots. The universe can't understand why you would give any sort of energy or attention to the things that you don't want.
Well,
You
and I
Wait,
think it was Neil Donald. Did you read Neil Donald Walsh?
I don't think
The-
so.
So he wrote the books that they're channeled a long time ago, Conversations with God. They're like a long series, maybe 4 or 5 books. But he said the universe, God universe, is a big photocopy machine, a big Xerox machine. And so if you say, I don't want to get sick, I don't want to get sick, the universe goes, yes, you don't want to get sick. The universe always says yes. And so there's more opportunities for you to don't want to get sick,
Yeah,
which you call in. If you say, I have really strong immune system. Yeah, there,
that's
there,
it.
that's it. Instead of, I have clients who said, well, I didn't do too bad in the eating. Right, that's backwards. What if
Too bad.
did you eat well? I didn't do too bad in the,
Hmm.
it's backwards from what you actually mean. Except it is what you actually mean because you want to backpedal because, then you haven't completely failed instead of
That,
I did have some success. It's just it's double speak.
yeah. We want to give ourselves an out, like, and it's subconscious and it's cultural and it's societal and it's just how we've been raised. And a lot of people will tell you when you really start studying language and how all of this works, a lot of people will tell you that the language was formulated to keep us manifesting bad things and things that we don't want.
Well, and small.
Yeah.
That I've heard it from multiple people, but and I know it applies across the board in languages, but spelling is a thing because it's a spell. Like
Yes.
words and thoughts and feelings and everything, they are magic spells, and you're casting them all day long, whether you're a Harry Potter muggle or a Harry Potter wizard, you're casting them all day long. And so you really want to say things intentionally. You want to see things on purpose and you want to, I think it's your group that's called healing myself to heal others or healing ourselves to heal the world, right? Your everyday speak can heal yourself or go the opposite direction.
Yes. You get what you focus on, period. And if you're focusing on not wanting to get sick, you're still focusing on the sickness.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're focusing on grounded, so you need to practice complete and utter ignoring of the things that you aren't interested in and don't like and don't want. Stonewall your own thoughts. Just like when a negative person comes up to you and they start complaining and complaining and complaining, most of us are going to look for the quickest exit and excuse to get out of there, right? You got to do the same thing with your own thoughts and your own words. So
And
instead of like, huh?
change them.
Yes, change them. Focusing on, go ahead.
Yeah. So so when you're like, ignore and stonewall, completely agree. Make sure you shift into neutral because there's a difference between like again, it's the thoughts and it's the energy and the focus behind it. There's a difference between like resisting, like putting your arm up, like, no, you know, to something, or just being like, that's actually not in alignment with me, and like neutraling out and going towards what is. Like you're like, if there's somebody coming up to you and it's super, super negative, you're going to look for the nearest exit. And that exit doesn't have you resisting that person. That exit has you like piecing out completely from that energy, separating from that energy, instead of
Mhm.
being there saying, I don't want this energy. I don't want this energy while you're still staying there, right? You just
Mhm.
literally change locations in your brain or change thoughts or choose.
Yeah, finding neutrality is a good way to it's acceptance and um the practice of unattachment And have you heard of the gray rock method?
No.
It's another mode of dealing with people. This is usually aimed at narcissists. When you find yourselves uh, confronted with a narcissist, the gray rock method is to just kind of be as boring as possible. So as neutral as possible. So you're giving really short answers. You're like, okay. And you're like turning away and just, and that's how you got to be with the things that you don't want. We want to focus so much on the things that we don't want. We're really good at focusing on the things that we don't want. It's a survival instinct that we carry from, ancient times with us. It was when we lived in huts and caves, it was really important to be aware of the things that you didn't want so that you could avoid them. But
Yeah.
nowadays, we don't really have to worry about that too terribly much. So we got to focus on the things that we do want and give all our energy and attention to that. So we're wanting to ground. So you don't want to be like, my anxiety is going away, or I'm trying to get rid of my anxiety, or, because then you're still focusing on the anxiety part. You need to find a neutral space of like nothingness,
Hmm.
which, now we're coming on to the meditation of clear your mind, which people laugh at, and I totally get it. You don't want to, even that, the effort of trying to calm your mind just kicks up more stuff because you're
Right.
focusing on your
'Cause
mind.
yeah, exactly. So if you because there's neutral, right? And there's calm and there's ease and grace, and we know what that feels like when things are nice. Some people picture it being on a boat with, carefree, so to speak, and some people picture it like me up in a mountain or something. But that blissful space, that's where you're after, and that's what it feels like when, and it's not woo woo to clear your mind. Your mind is a tool just like your hand. So I move my hand, I don't move my hand. I think, I don't think, I think. I'm the one thinking. So I can choose to think, I can choose not to think. But most of us are so trained that we allow our brain, we think that we are our brain. But I think I am my brain, but I am I, and my brain is my brain. I am not. So that's the importance of knowing that you can have space between thoughts. You can have neutral space. And then, I'm trying to work on my anxiety, or I'm trying to lessen my anxiety. Yes, anxiety is still in there. So to ground it would be I'm grounding my feet into the ground.
Hmm.
I am calm. I am neutral.
Hmm.
I'm feeling easy. I'm feeling centered. The I am statements are powerful. I am trying. In my opinion, I read something and I really believe it. Trying means you're not committed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat healthy. You say, I can eat healthy. I do eat healthy. I will eat healthy. I want to eat healthy. I eat healthy. There's many different ways to say it besides always throwing in try. But you said we always want to give ourselves a way out.
Hmm.
And so when you say, I am trying to work on my anxiety, that's exactly on point with what you were saying. That's a good, safe way out to stay where you are because that's familiar.
Hmm. Yeah, taking trying out entirely. I am working on eating healthy. Does that mean I hit it perfectly all the time? Nope. But I am working on it.
Hmm. And I will, and I want to, and I can eat healthy.
Hmm.
I choose to eat healthy. I love eating healthy. I mean, there's so many different ways to say it without the try. And people think that they're giving themselves credit when they say try, but they're giving themselves credit to the door, to the way out.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, this is all about the words that you brought up, the words. And the words can also unground you because if you're always focused on giving yourself a trapdoor, not a trapdoor, but what am I looking for? What's the word? Like swift exit. What's it called? An out. There's some word for it. But like if you're always looking for like a way out, that's really always hovering. That's never grounding or if you commit to yourself as far as food, I can eat healthy. I want to eat healthy. I eat healthy. I frequently eat healthy, right? Those are more like grounded, solid statements than, I try to eat healthy. That's not very grounded.
And you can feel the energy in it. Trying sound it feels floaty.
feels floaty,
Feels
and
fun.
it gives you an out.
Hmm.
Because, I try, but I sucked, or or what did she say? I didn't eat too bad. That was that roundabout my client said. I didn't eat too badly this weekend. And I was like, wow, that is a roundabout statement.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get a coach if you're not willing to hear the truths on that.
Oh yeah. Look at the semantics behind what you're saying because they really ring true.
Oh man, I argue with people so badly. I'm like, and I'm trying so hard not to argue. My intention is not to argue. My intention is to point out that they're self-sabotaging. And like it's from love. Like I love you and I know you've told me, you've expressed that you're trying to work on this, okay? That you want to work on this. And so I'm just like, hey, I know you want to work on this. Your language is implying the opposite of what you're wanting to do. And man, they get combative. And because,
Yeah. And they're not, because the thing is you're not trying to be mean. You're just saying fact. And the fact is your language says different than what you say you want.
yes, yeah.
Some of that is habitual. Some of that's just patterns that we have in our speech. So we just need to become more and more and more focused and aware of everything we say, which does take centering, which does take, even light grounding to be fully aware of every word that comes out of your mouth so that you're not countering yourself or driving with one foot on the brake, which we all do
Mm-hmm.
out of fear and self-protection.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Being the conscious observer, you're talking earlier about how you're not your brain. You're the conscious observer of everything that's happening and going on. And you can put that on autopilot, and most people have and do. And we kind of naturally default from that as children for the most part. And you have to be the conscious observer, not the unconscious observer.
Yeah.
Then you start to realize that you aren't your brain because your brain, intrusive thoughts hit everybody. And your brain just is constantly throwing out these unwelcomed thoughts that, like, where did you come from? I didn't ask that. I didn't, my brain wasn't even, my thought set wasn't anywhere near over there. Why is this popping into my head?
Yeah.
And that's when you have to learn how to separate and notice that, you are not your thoughts. You can choose conscious thoughts, but the ones that just pop up randomly are the the ego, I guess, that is trying to protect you generally.
Yeah.
It's usually trying to protect
What's
you.
that flight or fight you were talking about when we lived in huts and stuff? Like the ego's there for us because it's like there's a tiger, run. Yes, okay. Like that's why adrenaline and cortisol exist. Like get the hell out, right? Run. At the same time, like you said, the majority of us are not in those scenarios now. And so then the ego, it's important to protect us. The moms lifting cars off of kids and stuff like that. We need that kind of capability, but it infiltrates, in my opinion, everyone's every day and it gets in the way. And then the guy, one of the guys that I really, really respect and listen to every day, he calls the mind the smart ass and the ego the dumbass because they're like two parts of you, but you are you, right? And so then you need to choose what you're going to use your mind for because your mind is beautiful and so intelligent and so important and use her for like constructive things and creative things and fun things and silly things and awesome gifts and problem solving and use your mind. But that's like when it starts running those intrusive thoughts, you're like, I mean, some of that is fueled by the fuel you put in your body.
Mm-hmm. It
And
is.
some of that is habits and patterns. Some of that is from TV. Some of that is from parents. Some of that is from, who knows where it comes from. But yeah, it just pops up and you're like, why am I thinking about that?
You can even you can definitely give it a name. So like when these thoughts pop in, you're like, okay, Patricia, hush.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you.
Yeah, exactly. Name it, call it out.
And then you just you rework it and you're like, okay, okay, Patricia, I hear you. Now what do I want?
What do I actually want? And what do I want to think about? And why is my hand in the potato chip bag? I'm not even hungry.
Literally, I've been trying to teach my kids to put some chips in a bowl
Yeah.
And they're like, why? And I'm like, because you're just gonna sit there and you're gonna eat the whole bag of chip without even realizing because you're
Yeah.
not even paying attention.
Yeah.
But if you've put some in a bowl, then the bowl will empty quicker than the whole chip bag will
Yeah.
empty.
My client calls it the no bag rule. In her house, there's a no bag rule. And she, she'll put the chips in a bowl or you can put some on your plate or whatever, but there's a no bag rule. And I thought that was pretty good. But she has college kids. That's how you have little ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. No, it's because I mean, even if it's, you know, chips made out of good things like siete or some of those with the avocado oil and stuff, a bag is a bag is a bag.
Hmm.
Stick them in a bowl. Yeah, they think it's an extra step, but it's actually more that you don't need to become an entire potato chip bag.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, Going back to the clearing our minds and stuff though, that's why I tell my clients to focus on the spaces in between thoughts and make them bigger.
Yeah.
Because again, grounding is just being in the now as much as you can, just being completely in it, engulfed in the now. So in the physical, in the what's going on in front of you at the moment, because usually our anxiety is us living in either the past or the present, or I mean the future, and we need to stay in the present. And if it's in the past, there's nothing we can do to change that. We just have to learn how to, work towards acceptance of the fact that it happened. And um, you can even rework that and going back to the delusion and stuff, you can tell yourself a different story if you want to.
Well, and you can say it's okay because even if it doesn't feel good, like there's a little tip I have like on this now thing, which I'll share, but like the past was the past. And even if like something was hurtful, I mean, yes, it was hurtful. It doesn't negate it. It doesn't make it non-existent. If you say it's okay, why is it okay? It has to be okay because it it was. And like you said, the future's not here, the past not here. The only thing that's here is now, and then now and then now, literally, and then the future will be now. There only is now. So if you, it's not acceptance as in like, Wile E. Coyote, the white flag in the, cartoons with Bugs Bunny cartoons, like surrendering and they have a rock fall on his head. It's more just like it did happen. It happened and it's not happening now. And so you just say it's okay. And pulling into the moment, actually, one thing I like to play with is asking, like, what is the purpose of this moment? I'm sitting in my chair. I'm looking at Savannah. What is the purpose of this moment? I'm picking up my glass of water. What is the purpose? If you just look at the purpose of this moment, if your mind is spinning or Patricia's being bitchy, you just check what is the purpose of this moment. And some of my clients who run anxiety, the purpose of this moment is sitting in the DMV and waiting my turn. The purpose of this moment, because you can have anxiety out and about or in your house and we'll miss the purpose of the moment because we're fixated somewhere else and what ifing.
Mm-hmm. And granted, I talk all the time about how anxiety is not only due to overthinking and overactive minds. If you're like, because I had that anxiety for a long, I've had all the anxieties for sure, for sure. I don't think I've missed one yet. I think I've collected all of them. Um, Pokemon, got to catch them all is what popped
That's
in.
right, exactly.
But for a long time, I would. I'd be anxious and it feels like I'm trying to crawl out of my skin. And my husband would be like, what is wrong? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, what's going on in your head? I can't pinpoint anything. I can't find any reason that like I'm just cooking dinner and I was fine. And
It's a
then
physical pattern.
and then out of nowhere, well, mine was allergy based
Mm-hmm.
based. And that's what people don't realize that anxiety is your body's alarm system that something is wrong, but it's got the same alarm system for whether if something's actually wrong or if we're
Yeah.
just worried about something or if we're just having allergic reaction or we got a hold of too many toxins because our food and our self-care products are full of them.
Well, I knew somebody who often mistook hunger cues for anxiety, like it was mixed. in her because she struggles with anxiety, but she would not time lunch right. And so she would always feel like her anxiety came around this time of day, but it was a hunger cue she was missing. That was not an anxiety cue, but it felt the same. Like you
Hmm.
said, it feels like it could be allergies, it could be toxins, it could be whatever it is. And anxiety feels like anxiety.
Hmm. Yeah, and so that's why it's good to have all these grounding techniques in your toolbox so that no matter what kind of situation you're dealing with that needs grounding, you can start pulling things out. Because with my allergy toxin based anxiety, all I could do was ride it out. And like there was a couple of times where I was like, it gets really cloudy with your intuition and stuff. And you're like, I kind of like, do I need to go to the ER? I feel like I might need to go to the ER. And it took me a while to like figure out what was going on. And it was not, it didn't need an ER visit. I had to ride it out. And that's, again, you have to really learn how to talk to your body, and so that you can differentiate a time and need to go to the ER and what
Mhm.
is, no, it's okay. You're just having a feeling right now. You're having feelings. You're just feeling some things. And if we can just breathe deeply, relax your shoulders, go outside and touch some grass, it's amazing how that actually works. You
It's
go outside.
amazing how it actually works.
Yes.
And touch the ground and touch a tree. And the beautiful thing is, like you said, you have to actually learn how to get in touch. And that's the whole thing with listening to your intuition, and whether intuitive eating or exercise. If you're in a state where you don't even know if you need to go to the ER and you feel like you might, and it feels awful and crazy, and if you've practiced when you're not feeling that like running, where you pull into your feet and you're out with your feet on the earth, or you're with a tree, or you're eating nice root vegetables and very intentionally and consciously and awarely eating root vegetables, those things, all of those will clear up your knowing, where you can check in and say, do I need to go to the ER? You might hear, yes, go, but it'll be from a place of clarity and self-support and, intuitive hits from guidance, if you believe in that. It will be more clear that yes, you do need to go to the ER. Or like with you, when you're like, no, I just need to ride this out. I need to let this pass. It's a wave that's up to move through, to release. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to sit with my feet outside. I'm going to have some tea and I'm going to be okay. You need the space to receive a message that you do need to go to the ER or not,
Hmm.
to know if you need to make that decision. It's not going to be always a don't go to the ER, but it will be a lot easier to know if you should, if you're not in, knots.
Hmm. Yet so many people spend a lot of time at the ER for things that they don't need to be up there for because they're panicking over um, things that their body's trying to tell them that are stemming from other things that aren't dire and deadly. And people they'll go to the doctor and they'll go to the ER and they can't find anything wrong and they have no answers for you.
And
And
that's where you're not being delusional. In that situation, you are feeling what you are feeling, but there's nothing wrong with you, but your body's telling you something else. Yeah, it's all connected.
mm-hmm,
It's so important to ground and be able to learn, practice. We have to practice
mm-hmm,
understanding what the body is telling you, because like you said, the body will respond and it will seem similar. It will seem the same, but it's, like they say, panic attacks really, 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 really mimic heart attacks. You're not having a heart attack, you're having a panic attack.
mm-hmm.
The body feels similar. Yeah, no, it's more than just, a woo-woo spiritual thing to ground. It's actually kind of a life hack.
Yes. Yes, you really, and practicing, you do not have to carve out a hour a day or, a week or whatever. People think that practicing grounding and meditation and all of these things take a chunk of time, but you work the you can practice any second for 30 seconds anytime you think about it, no matter what you have going on. So like if you're in a business meeting and you're bored, you can practice then. And if you're sitting at the DMV and waiting for your turn, you can practice then. If you're at going to bed at night, that's the perfect time. You lay down, and so many people struggle going to sleep and having insomnia and stuff, and that is a perfect time to practice, because get to where you're falling asleep easier and
Yeah.
better and sleeping.
Well, and we could do an entire episode on that, like how to put yourself to sleep, how to get back to sleep if you wake up, and how to consciously wake up in the morning and choose and shape your day. Like that could be a whole nother thing, because and all of that does circle around grounding.
Hmm. It does. Being in the present moment. Showers, that's why people have their best ideas in the showers, because there's less distractions. And that's what you're trying to do with grounding, is you're trying to minimize distractions, but also purposefully distract yourself with certain things, like focusing on your feet or your breath or relaxing your shoulders, your face. Tapping is great. So if you have
Yeah.
a hard
Right.
time getting your focus into your lower half of your body, you can like tap on your my hips all the time. I'm always like not punching them, but like just
Yeah,
steady, like
tapping.
rhythmic
I mean,
tap.
there's the EFT. I'm not certified or versed in it, but there's a whole, you know, genre of tapping that can be so beneficial. And there's also like it can be tribal, but the breathing where you breathe in and your arms scoop the air. And then if you're like in public, you don't make a noise. But if you're alone, you can push your hands down and ground with your like air. I mean, it could be in a dance class, it could be in a yoga class, it could be in your bedroom, it could be whatever. But like really filling your lungs with air and literally just grounding. If you need it to be on the physical level to hit you internally, there's so many ways to do it, and it's important, and you can do it in the grocery store line, like you said.
Mhm. And stemming. So people who are autistic have a big history, like they're known for stemming. And I think they figured out intuitively how to calm their nervous system.
Mhm. They'll rock or something or move in a certain way. Yeah.
Certain noises.
Yeah.
Uh, Smoothing out your aura is
Yeah.
another thing you can do. I do this all the time, and it's amazing how I know people who are just listening can't see, but you like smooth out your aura with your hands just around where you're feeling anxious, and you'll find that you can kind of pinpoint where the anxiety is. So you'll
Yeah.
spend a longer point or time in one point than another, and you're just like, oh, now I feel better. It's
Well,
amazing.
stuff like Qigong, like you can find a Qigong thing, like Lee Holden or somebody on YouTube and just do a class, and they literally move energy. And it's, an ancient slowed down martial arts. So if you don't believe in energy, you can just do the motions and it will still benefit you. But yeah, it's not, I mean, it can be seen as like super spiritual woo-woo, but it's not super spiritual woo-woo. It's actually a thing.
Yes.
Basically, you could just consider it calming yourself down, but you want to calm yourself down on all layers.
Yes. Now, I always tell people my whole philosophy with a lot of things is won't hurt, might help. So,
Yeah.
there's always something else that you can try. Just if you're not giving up, then you're doing great.
Well, it's the same thing with the vegetables you were saying earlier on, right? Won't hurt, might help. Might like this vegetable, might hate it, but I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. And then try it again if you do hate it, because you haven't you have I promise you, you've not cooked Brussels sprouts all of the different ways that there are to cook
Exactly.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. And you might like something like, I don't like raw broccoli, but I really love cooked broccoli. So if I only knew that there was raw broccoli, I would think I didn't like it.
Yeah. And then our taste buds change.
Exactly. Especially when you clean up your eating, your taste buds really change.
Gosh, yes.
Tasting different.
Can't even eat any processed anything anymore. It's like this is straight chemicals. Like, yeah. Well, this has been fun. It went by really quickly.
I know. Oh my goodness. We have a good time. We have a lot of topics we could talk about.
We do, yeah. I think we did pretty good about staying focused, but we can definitely spin off on another one day if we want to. Y'all let us know. Let us know what y'all want to hear us ramble about for a
For
while.
sure. For sure. I'm in.
So, again, tell everybody where to find you. And you have another episode on the podcast that people can go find if they enjoyed hearing. And then you have
Dude,
your
that
own.
was fun. What was that? Like a year and a half ago or so?
Oh,
I
yeah, it was a while. I
I
don't know.
remember it was a while ago. But my name is Megan Jones. You can find me on Facebook, my Meghan Jones, and on Instagram, I am at wellness underscore on underscore purpose. Same on the YouTube. I think the same on TikTok. You can find me in all different places. My private Facebook group in Facebook is Eating Healthy and Finding Balance. And believe it or not, it was quite a while ago, but I made a video um, that's 4 mini tips for regrounding and recentering any time of day. And I could totally give Savannah that video link and she could stick it in the call notes. Because I think it's like really brief video. So I could do that and give you guys like a little mini video of grounding tips you can play with.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Could do it. It was June 23 is when we did our last episode. So almost a year,
Oh, a year. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow.
which
That's
is
fun.
probably around about when this one will release. Probably, it takes me about a month to get these out after I
Yeah.
record them. But
Very cool.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so nice to see you and so nice to talk to you. I mean, I get to see you on the platforms, but not really.
yeah, yeah.
Grateful.
All right. Well, y'all have a great day.